Hey, everybody. Welcome to Interact. Thank you so much for joining me today for DORA metrics. We've been using them wrong. And also thanks for joining us all at Interact. Thanks for your patience today. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves. Make sure, by the way, you're checking out both stages. Make sure you're checking out the booths as well. A lot of great sponsors, a lot of great people to talk to. So anyway, welcome. So yeah, like I said, this session is called DORA metrics. We've been using them wrong. A little bit about me. I'm Zach Westall. I'm a senior developer advocate here at LinearB. Primarily, I'm a content engine. I write a lot of our content, and I have experience in a range of technologies. Previously, I've worked in security and automation, containers, and central management solutions. And when I'm not at work, I am very passionate about my wife, my dogs, fantasy literature, and pinball. So if you want to talk to me about any of those subjects, in addition to helping developers thrive and helping development teams do more better, I will happily talk your ear off about any of those subjects. But enough about me. Let's get to the meat of this presentation. DORA metrics are great, but there is a caveat. And before we go too far, I want to quickly touch on DORA metrics. So there are 4 key DORA metrics as defined in the book Accelerate. The 4 key metrics are cycle time or lead time for changes, deployment frequency, change failure rate, and mean time to restore. Now, 2 on the left in purple are your velocity metrics, how quickly and efficiently your team is moving work through the pipe. And the ones on the right in orange are your stability metrics for the team. So once code is released out into the world, the quality of that code, how stable it is, how often you have to go and give it care and feeding when something goes wrong. When you have high velocity and high stability, magical things happen. So DORA metrics, measuring these 4 things are great, but, and there is a but, they're not really super useful outside of engineering. Now that's changing a little bit, but by and large, when the VP of engineering comes to the CEO and says, hey, we improved our mean time to restore by 27%. That's a great number. Well done, VP of engineering. Your team is doing fantastic. They are able to respond to problems much faster. That's incredible. But for the CEO's perspective, what does that mean for the Q4 launch? Does that mean we're going to hit our target? Does that mean that we are going to ship more features? Does that mean that we're shipping the right things to our customers? I don't know. They don't know. That's not, if it's not, those 2 things aren't really related to each other. So they're speaking different languages. So what are some business outcomes? What are the things that CEO and the rest of the business genuinely cares about? Well, they care about the engineering's ability to deliver on promises, deliver more features faster, and deliver a great customer experience. And that's really what they want, the business outcomes that they want out of engineering. That's truly what they care about. Again, how does DORA relate to that? Well, we're going to get to that, but on the surface, it doesn't. And that's why we're sort of using them all. So the hidden problem, DORA metrics don't always equal business outcomes. The 2 are not the same thing. Now let's explore that in a little more detail. 3 reasons why DORA metrics do not translate to better business outcomes. Number 1, business cares about whole features, not the individual pieces of code or the individual pieces of work that make up a whole feature. So cycle time and deployment frequency equal velocity of code to production. That's great. But cycle time is, again, an individual piece of code, an individual piece of work going through the pipeline. Same thing with deployment frequency, that individual piece of work being deployed out. You want higher deployment frequency, you want shorter cycle time and more velocity, but it's code to production, not an entire feature, not necessarily an entire feature. And for CFR and MTTR, that gives you stability of that release code. But again, it doesn't net out to necessarily more features being delivered into the hands of customers. So again, we see our CEO on the right here. So Great. Your velocity is up, your stability is up. Does that mean the feature will be ready next week or not? Again, we don't know. It's a good indicator, but it doesn't really tell you about the whole feature. It tells you about individual pieces of work. Reason two, DORA metrics are a retrospective view of engineering efficiency and stability. So when you measure them, your process has already happened. So you've shipped your code. Is your process efficient? Well, maybe it is. The thing is, when you ship your code, you look back on the cycle time, you look back on the deployment frequency, you look back on the change failure rate, well, after the code is into production, and you look back on your mean time to restore. All of these things, again, are determined after code is released, which means you can't fix those existing things right now. So again, the reason that DORA metrics don't necessarily net out to better business outcomes is because they are a retrospective view. Last but certainly not least, developers don't really care about DORA metrics. We've talked a lot about at Interact over the last couple of hours about the developer experience, about how developers, they just want to go fast. They want to fix problems with code. They want to, the dopamine hit that a developer gets when they merge their code into production. Merge it back into the main line and that gets deployed onto production. Hey, great. Can move on to the next thing. That's a dopamine hit. That is a reward for your developers. So as you can see, our little developer bee here, they just want to merge their code fast. That's all they're concerned about. How does reducing CFR help them do that? How does a reduced MTTR help them do that? It's hard to know. It really doesn't. So that is the third reason why DORA metrics do not necessarily equal better business outcomes. So here's the dirty little secret. DORA metrics are like Earth's position in the solar system. They're part of a larger cosmos of things to look at, which is why we're referencing our friend Carl Sagan here. He was very much concerned with the larger picture of Earth's position within the cosmos. And that's how we need to look at DORA metrics as one data point in a universe of data points that we need to look at to have better engineering efficiency, better performing teams, more productive developers, and of course, better business outcomes. So found if too much focus on DORA obscures the whole picture. Again, DORA metrics are like Earth's position in the cosmos. Here is the rest of the universe that we need to look at, but we focus way too much on DORA metrics. And what we need to do is widen our gaze a little bit. How DORA metrics fit into the bigger picture of engineering improvement. Over here, we have the leading indicators, and we're going to explore these in a little more detail, but if you focus on nothing else, focus on pull request size, PR pickup time, PR review time, review depth, and code churn. All of these are leading indicators and impact your DORA metrics. When those impact the DORA metrics, they impact engineering outcomes, and engineering outcomes impact business outcomes. Engineering understands all of these things to the left. The business understands these things to the right. Finding that middle ground is important when communicating with both sides. But again, if you want to improve DORA metrics, which means improving engineering outcomes and improving business outcomes, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and look at your leading indicators. So again, the business actually wants to see a few things. As I mentioned before, they want to see you they want to see these things from engineering. They want to see you deliver on promises, deliver more features, and deliver a great customer experience. These things, these metrics are planning accuracy and people allocation. These are hard metrics that you can look at right now, especially in LinearB. But this is what the business wants to see from engineering. How accurate are you planning your sprints, and are you allocating your resources to the right areas that are going to impact the business? That's what they care about. They will also want to see is, did we deliver on our promises? Here's a view on LinearB of overall planning accuracy, the projects view here. We can see, planning accuracy, what we planned on doing versus what we actually delivered. Very, very important view. This answers that fundamental question here is, did we deliver on our promises? Next thing they want to see from engineering is, what did engineering actually deliver? This is our delivery breakdown view. This gives you a little more granular information than perhaps a JIRA board would. Because this tells you and breaks it down into more detail as to what was actually done within a sprint or a collection of sprints. This shows you what was planned and completed, what was unplanned and completed, which is a big distinction here because JIRA right out of the box doesn't give you that information. They tell you, hey, you planned for 50 story points and you delivered 50 story points. According to JIRA, you're doing great. You're at 100% planning accuracy. Well done. Well, the story's a little more complicated than that because maybe 25 of those 50 story points were completely unplanned and added mid-sprint, which means other things got deprioritized. So you don't actually have 100% planning accuracy. And it's that granularity, that additional context that's going to answer the question of what did engineering actually deliver? The business wants to know, are your developers working on the right things? Where are people being resourced? Where are they being sent to? And if a new priority project comes up from the business that says, this is number one thing, this has to absolutely get done, great. Where should we move people off of in order to satisfy that requirement? How do we re-resource this to make that happen? Is the project at risk? Great. We know that we have planned versus executed metrics. We know that we're average investment per issue type. So what are teams working on? Well, we've got a lot of bugs that we're working on this sprint. Odds are that the project is at risk if you're spending the majority of your time working on bugs. These are the things the business wants to know, that these are the things that they care about. And then last but not least, like I mentioned before, competing projects. We have where people are spending their time. Here are the projects that they're spending their time on. So again, when a new quote unquote priority project comes up, you are able to point to the board and say, great, I'm happy to make that happen for you. Where would you like me to deprioritize what would you like me to deprioritize to put more resources on? These are the things that the business wants to know from engineering. So, you know that you want to improve your DORA metrics. You know you want to improve your business outcomes, but you can't just magically do that. It'd be great if we could just wave a wand and make that happen. But that's not the world we live in. You have to go back a little further, as I mentioned before. You have to go and address your leading indicators. And our number one leading indicator is the pull request. The pull request and the overall pull request process is how you impact DORA metrics, how you impact engineering outcomes, and ultimately how you impact business outcomes. I like to refer to them as the proto metric, but they are the best indicator of overall development pipeline health and how you impact your DORA metrics, as I mentioned before. We did a little research on this subject, and by little, I mean a lot of research. We analyzed nearly 750,000 pull requests, almost 4 million reviews from nearly 26,000 developers. And we analyzed all of these pull requests. And what we found was pretty staggering information. First and foremost, pull requests are mostly idle. Half of all pull requests that we analyzed are idle for half of their lifespan. Just let that sink in for a second. Half of all pull requests idle for half of their lifespan. So sitting there, doing nothing, not being worked on by anyone, just sitting there, taking up time, not moving, not helping anybody, not moving the needle, not impacting DORA metrics, not impacting the business. 33% of pull requests are idle for nearly 20% of their lifespan, just again, sitting there, not doing anything. So that is a big, big bottleneck, idle time on pull requests. What we also found out is that PRs that are under 15 minutes to review get picked up 20 times faster. Again, let that sink in. If a developer sees a pull request that takes more than 15 minutes, it's going to take a really long time because that means they have to carve out a portion of their day in order to do that work, which is why you have so much idle time. If they have to carve out time from their already overscheduled day, then finding a reviewer becomes a real challenge. But if you keep that PR small and it takes less time to review, under 15 minutes, it's 20 times faster because that means I don't have to prioritize my day around finding time to review this pull request. I can do it before I go to lunch. I can do it before I go to get a coffee. I can do it maybe before my next meeting. I can do it after I checked in a piece of code and I'm wondering what to do next. So yeah, PRs under 15 minutes to review get picked up 20 times faster. And PRs that are under 15 minutes to review are the small ones. PRs under 200 dip size, under 200 lines of code changes get merged twice as fast. Versus PRs with 600 lines of code changes last 3.5 times long. Their life cycle is 3.5 times longer than PRs with 50 or fewer changes and twice as long than PRs with 50 to 200 changes. So keep PRs small. That is how you move work faster through the pipeline. Small PRs picked up faster, they're merged faster, they're commented on faster, and they have less code churn. Why? There's less code to review. There's less chance of, there's less code. Let me back up. There's less code being written, which means less code, less of a chance to introduce a new bug into code that you're working on. And then once you actually issue the PR, there's less code to review, meaning that reviewer will likely catch any mistakes that are in there. I'm primarily a content writer. I know that, typos happen, obviously. When I'm writing a piece of content, if you keep it shorter, not only are people more likely to read it, but when I go to give it to an editor, there's less of a chance that I've made a mistake and that they're going to miss something with fatigue of reviewing line after line after line that I've written. So keep PRs small. As I said before, improving your leading indicators, you'll improve your DORA metrics. So let's look at PR size here. A smaller PR means a faster cycle time, and DORA metrics here are denoted with an asterisk next to them. Smaller PRs, faster cycle times. Faster cycle times, more deployments. More deployments means higher velocity. Higher velocity means more features. More features delights the business. And that is how you improve your leading indicators, you improve your DORA metrics, you improve your business outcomes. Next, improve your leading indicators, improve your DORA metrics, improve your business outcomes. Let's look at churn. So smaller PRs means less churn because there's less to review, less back and forth, less things to constantly have to work on. When you have less churn, there's fewer incidents, which means your CFR, your change failure rate. Also, when you have fewer incidents and smaller PRs, which means overall less code, you have faster restoration because, or your mean time to restore. Why? When PRs are smaller, when there's less code to comb through, when something does go wrong, you're able to respond more quickly. So when you have lower churn, fewer incidents, faster restoration, you have overall higher stability and more features are being shipped because you're not having to go back and rework on things. Not bugs aren't getting in the way. Your team is able to focus on things that actually move the needle for the business, not bugs. And, not P0 outages and that sort of thing. You're able to work on new features. You're able to refactor. Refactoring is not a bad thing. Refactoring is very okay because you're optimizing your existing code base, but you're able to work on new features and you're able to work on refactoring, things that actually add value, not bugs and not addressing churn. So that is how you improve your leading indicators, you improve your DORA metrics, you improve your business outcomes. So the real question, the nitty gritty, how do I sustainably improve your leading indicators, your DORA metrics, and your business outcome? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Step one, get a baseline of your team's metrics and benchmark them against the industry. We have a report that you can check out, linearb.io/engineering benchmarks. They will, a link will be made available shortly. In addition to grabbing your team's metrics from LinearB and using this amazing piece of research, that is the report that I was mentioning before, all about PR research. We've actually integrated this into the product, which is really, really cool. So like on these metrics, on cycle time, on coding time, the individual pieces that make up cycle time, there are icons that you can click that will show you where your team is performing in relation to that metric. So let's say your team has a coding time of 24 to 38 hours. You will see an icon on your coding time that tells you, hey, my team is performing fair compared to the rest of the industry. So it's just giving you that context. So step one, benchmark your team's performance, get the metrics, get context to how they're doing with the rest of the industry. That's how you begin on your path to improvement. Step two is establish team goals and your working agreements. Now we do this, again, you do this in a number of ways. From LinearB, and that's what you're actually seeing right here. You can actually set team goals around many of these metrics. So avoiding large pull requests. I hope the point has come across that keeping PRs small is how you affect DORA metrics and how you affect your business outcomes. So we actually, obviously, you can set a goal around keeping PRs small. Same thing with shorter PR life cycles, pull request times, making sure that every PR gets a review, and avoiding merging risky work. Risky work we define as larger PRs with a high rework rate. That means people, again, working on the code base over and over and over and over again, lots of churn. That's risky code. So you can set team goals around all of these metrics, but team goals are just, they're a big part of it, but they are part of it. The other thing is the working agreements. You know your team better than we know your team. So things that work for your team, should be agreed upon with the rest of the team. So, in addition to these goals about keeping PRs small, maybe you set a working agreement that PRs need to be, code reviews need to happen between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. That way it frees up people for the rest of the afternoon to do their work, and remove bottlenecks. Maybe on your team, you have a policy set that PRs that are over a certain size have to have 2 reviewers. Maybe, if a junior dev issued the PR, a senior dev has to review it. Whatever works for your team. These are the softer working agreements. And it's the establishing team goals and those working agreements. That's how you find success and improve as a team, improve your leading indicators, improve your DORA metrics, and improve your business outcomes. Step 3 is to introduce automation to optimize your developer workflow. Now, some questions, what in the is developer workflow optimization? I'm so glad you asked. Meet WorkerBee. This is the automation engine for developer workflow optimization and sustained improvement. From either Teams or Slack, WorkerBee will let you know what's going on with your development pipeline. More importantly, it keeps everyone focused on the working agreements and goals that you set earlier. So here's an example. Heads up, 4 requests have been waiting for review for 3 days. You have a goal that says, I need to review pull requests in 2 days. So this is letting you know this is one's been sitting there for a while. Let's go ahead and take action. This alerts your entire team. By the way, though, you can mute it, you can snooze it. It aligns to how you work. It is not rigid. It's very, very flexible and lets you know. And again, if you're in deep focused work and you don't have time for this right now, go ahead and snooze it. You know, again, it aligns to you, but it tells you what's going on, what the goal is, reminding everyone of that goal that we set as a team, what the actual pull request is, who owns it, are there related what the related issue is, and how long it will take you to review it. So it answers all of these key questions. Is this a priority? Do I have time for this? Is this something that I can help with? Do I know about what's going on here? Who is responsible for this PR? And hey, are we as a team meeting our goals? It answers all of those questions for you. And again, keeps everyone on the same page, keeps the work moving. So we go back to our developer B. I just want to merge my code fast. Oh my God. DORA metrics aren't helping me do that, but this is actually helping me do that. Now I care a little bit. So other things you can do with Worker V, it's not just there to remind you of goals. It is you're able to approve small PRs with minimal context switching. So right from Slack, you can see a small PR come in. And when we say small PRs, we mean less than 5 lines of code. You can review them directly in Slack, approve them, and it lets the PR issuer know, hey, this was approved. Great, go merge it in the time it takes to prepare a cup of coffee, probably less, directly from Slack, all thanks to Worker. And again, another workflow optimization. Merge PRs directly from Slack. That's pretty cool. Identify unmatched branches and create issues with a single click. So one of the biggest bottlenecks as well for developers is and the biggest time suck on their day. If they had it their way, they would code all day, every day. But unfortunately, life and normal rhythm of business gets in the way. Meetings, status updates, reviews, what have you. The biggest thing, one of the bigger things though, is manual entry into project management tools like Jira. Nobody really likes doing it, least of all developers. So this saves them a lot of time. And it also answers a big, big problem here, a big blind spot for a lot of leaders. And that is 31% of work in progress branches do not have an associated ticket with them. That means when you're reporting on status, when you're reporting on, reporting up to the board, reporting up to your business leadership, or making decisions, you're doing it 31% blind. And that's again, an average, but the average team, 31% of branches are unlinked to a Jira ticket. This lets developers do that. So in the course of normal coding work, they issue a PR. Maybe they're refactoring something and they have to check out a different branch, and they're working on something else, but there's not a Jira ticket associated with it. LinearB will automatically identify that, ping them in Slack with this message saying, hey, this PR is not linked to a Jira ticket. Would you like me to create one for you? Great. They click that button. It issues a new Jira ticket. They are now the owner. It automatically finds the best iteration to link it to. And this is all done again with a single click. Really, really cool developer workflow optimization. Last but not least, we've got dedicated sessions on this, by the way, for continuous merge and git stream. But so I definitely recommend checking those out. But the old way is that all PRs are treated the same no matter what. In the continuous merge way with git stream, minor changes, you can automatically approve those. These are just swim lanes to handle all of your PRs. And again, another way we do developer workflow optimization. The old way, All PRs treated the same way. They all get the same code review, follow the same process. It's very draconian, very rigid, versus the continuous merge way where minor changes like a text file or something like that automatically approved. You don't even need a reviewer on that. Normal change, you need one review. Is an expert needed? It'll automatically find someone who is at the right level and who has time and availability to do that. Is it a major critical change and you need 2 or more senior reviewers to do that? Hey, it'll automatically identify that based on rules that you set and you've customized to work for your team. It'll automatically identify that this is a major critical change. 2 or more senior devs need to review it before it gets merged. And it'll automatically find the available resources, automatically assign them the work to do that. So it's just a more intelligent way to handle the PR process. So get your DORA metrics and your leading indicators today. If you haven't already, you can sign up for free. And it is free for development teams of 8 or less, app.linearb.io. If you want to get some of the project level and business focused metrics that I showed you a little earlier, like what your team's working on, your competing priorities, your planning accuracy, that sort of thing, you can get a trial or custom demo at linearb.io/get started. And then, hey, enable automation with WorkerBee and Gitstream, and you can get access to those right now at linearb.io/dev. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it, and have a great rest of your Interact. Thanks. See you soon.